welcome to another delicate, delectable, and downright delicious episode of the PokePals Pokemon podcast. It is episode 3. We have reached our final stage, and we have evolved from the old into the new. And a big thank you before we get going to Arto Toads, aka Jamie, for our brand new logo. I feel like we've finally reached those big leagues. We are now available also on Spotify, so if you don't have time to sit here and watch all three of us handsome gentlemen sit and talk about all the wonderful things in the world of Pokemon and TCG collection, you can go and find us over on Spotify. I will link it down in the description below. And it is a big day in the Pokemon world because we are on Destined Rivals release day. Happy release day, lads. How are we? How's your day been?
Yeah, very good, mate. Glad it's the end of the week. Managed to actually secure Destined Rivals as well, so it's even better. Looking forward to the weekend to get through some of these packs.
Yeah, same. I managed to get out into the wild, pick up some packs before my pre-order came. So I ripped all the ones that I bought today in the shops, except from these three. And then I've got that lovely booster box up there waiting for me.
I am very jealous, although I did manage to get out in the wild, and as you can see, I haven't just reprinted some Gloria Team Rocket and repackaged them. I have got some delicious Destined Rivals. I managed to grab an ETB for a friend of ours because I'm not collecting this set, as we know from previous episodes. I'm still mastering the Glory of Team Rocket. So, praying that I pull Mewtwo so that it can fund the rest of my master. But I think it's actually been a very painless experience on a release day for the first time in a long time. I managed to get to my local card shop, which doesn't have a massive allocation because we're a tiny village in the south end of England. Enough packs for me to get a few singles and an ETB for me to pick up for one of my friends. So for me, a very positive experience going into release day. Ed, how was your experience going into release day? Was it a simple process?
So the Smiths pre-order for the ETBs was pretty good. I mean, I know some people weren't the biggest fan of that, but I actually really enjoyed it just for the sense of you're there with presumably like-minded people, like hopefully collectors at the very least. It sort of took me back to when I was a kid and like you'd go queue up for like the midnight release of like the next game or film that you wanted. It was very like nostalgic, and the fact that it was over Pokemon cards I actually think is pretty sweet. Like it's really like it's just a nice sort of change of pace where the whole world's online now. I went out this morning and managed to pick up 2 half boosters, which I was pretty happy about, and then I also, like many of us, struggled with getting the Pokemon Center ETB. By some fluke, I got an email yesterday, just saying, "Oh yeah, we've shipped your order." That I didn't even know that I'd successfully placed because I had no confirmation email. But the postman came earlier today and dropped off this absolute beauty. This is going to be staying sealed for a long time and going on my shelf, but cannot wait to get into some more juicy, succulent packs.
I'm assuming by long time you mean until Sunday.
Depends what time zone.
Yeah. and Tone, obviously you managed to get out earlier and bumped into friends of ours. So how was your experience?
Yeah, great. I bumped into a couple of the PokePals. Shout out the Cockney Collector and Bill's Pokemon. I was just minding my own business queuing up in WH Smith, and Cockney and I locked eyes across the room as you do, lovingly. And I recognise you. I was like, it's Cockney. In front of me was Bill. He turned around, shouted out in the middle of the store, "It's Tone!" And it was a lovely, wholesome moment of people in the community that had never met before, just randomly meeting up somewhere local. So no, it was really fun. The queuing was not as bad as I thought. It was worse than Journey Together. I think we all knew it would happen. It was a much more anticipated set. But nothing too major. And again, a lot of people on really wholesome vibes, apart from the one person behind me who was bragging about his court day tomorrow.
Welcome to Pokemon. We're also criminals. Which I suppose is fitting for Team Rocket, really, isn't it?
He's looking to pull an escape rope, I reckon.
That's it.
Oh, if only Pokemon had the Uno reverse card, maybe he'd get away with it, and the judge would go to jail. It's a really wholesome experience, I think, for us as collectors, and especially people here on the interwebs and internets, when you actually get to meet up with somebody in real life and go, "Oh my god, you're real! You're a person with faces and blood and veins and skin and stuff." It's a very unique feeling when you, like us, we know each other very well, but have never physically stood in the same room and shook hands and slapped thighs and giggled about jokes from yesteryear. And yet, I feel like I probably would get an invite to both of your weddings. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, Tone, you're already married. Lucky lady. I'm very jealous. Not hurt at all. But again, you know, it's that wonderful feeling of you know somebody so well and then suddenly you're in their presence and it feels so natural rather than sometimes that awkward feeling of meeting somebody for the first time. Yeah. Obviously, a few of us have already opened some packs. I've been very lucky. I've got a hit. I've got a nice hit. That was good for me. I'm very happy. I've got it just here actually. I managed to get an Ethan's Ho-Oh, which is a nice little card. Have either of you got any of your hits to hand that you've had so far?
I certainly do.
Just Ed's just like cards galore. Like.
And here's one I prepared earlier. So I got the Shaman full art, the Blaziken full art, and the Gold Jamming Tower, which I will say, as secret rare trainer cards go, actually pretty sweet, that one. Very impressed with this set so far. It's very.
I think it's been a big conversation especially between us three and a lot of our friends, is that this set, from commons all the way to the SARs and all the secret rares, there's not a card that's missed so far.
Completely agree.
Yeah. I got a few. I got the Blaziken. I got the Kangaskhan, which I was buzzing about.
It's a very nice one.
Got the big boss himself, looking all sly and sexy right there.
It's a fantastic trainer card.
And then I got a card that we might recognise from last week from your Japanese card. I pulled the Houndoom.
Which I do conveniently, yeah. I think as well, especially seeing as I'm not mastering the set and I've only got a few packs just to join in with release day and research purposes, if you will, there's something about the Heatwave Arena side of this set, because I didn't open any Heatwave and I went straight for Glory of Team Rocket because that's what I want to master, that I missed a lot of the commons, like little ones, like Misty's Gyarados common card, phenomenal artwork, fantastic. We're 5 minutes in, there's my first phenomenal of the podcast. It's one of those ones where, especially since I've started to master, I've definitely started to have a bigger appreciation for just base set of all cards. Like, I've ordered a few little odds and sods for my own collection that have been from base sets of other things, and I'm really starting to, as a collector, grow and appreciate just the basic stuff. Now, we've obviously got some packs beside us, and not something that we normally do on the podcast, so if you are on Spotify currently listening to us audio style, sorry, pause, go to YouTube to this timestamp, watch us open the packs, and then go back to Spotify. But if you're driving, pull over. We're a good excuse to be late for work. So I think what we should do is, just for a little bit of fun, let's get all three of these opened each and see if any of us can pull a Mewtwo.
If you didn't already know, guys, the best way to open packs is with a handy set of scissors if you're skilled enough. That's my unpopular opinion a bit early, so...
I don't normally, but purely for the fact that I seem to constantly struggle when filming myself, or as we are streaming and recording the stream, I will not mess around and I'll use less scissors. Let's see if my ability... Oh! Here we go. Let's find out if batching's an issue. Right. Energies.
Well, it's not today.
Not yet.
Not yet, anyway, yeah. That's a good point.
I love the tension.
Yeah, you can cut that with a knife.
I love that Nidoqueen, by the
So
way.
good.
Again, there's not
There's
a
just
common
amazing artworks in this set.
that misses.
Is that first reverse?
Oh, I've got a reverse Arbok. That can
Nice.
go in my Arbok
Very
collection.
nice.
Marie.
Talo.
Oh, that's a cool Articuno.
Ooh, Typhlosion Hollow.
I've got Zamazenta. I'm
So
actually
for anyone on the pod, no big hits yet.
not yet.
but they're
I'm
on their
actually
way.
really happy just to get the reverse Arbok because I've got the common Japanese in my Arbok collection. So it's nice to have a shiny one.
See, I pulled the
keep yourself
reverse
safe
today.
there.
I did not pull the common. So I still need the common Arbok.
See, I've got the common in English as well, which I was very happy with. But have a shinier one, makes the binder look nice. I mean, we're just degenning. This has just become a degen session. We're not here to talk about Pokemon. We're here to rip it open.
But that's it. I'm hoping everyone understands that a new set is out. We're little children that are buzzing. We're getting these packs. And we want to rip packs together.
We're
and you
here to
guys get
share
witness
and
us.
discuss the experience of a release day with you guys.
I love as well
And-
how quiet
and
we all get when like you can tell we're about to open the pack and like I'm here sticking my tongue out being like, come on. Let's get this boy.
Yeah, that's why I've done the scissors, just so that I don't get that weird, I call it rip gun, where you just stand there as you're trying to get hold of that little bit of the seed.
Just
Although I will say...
That's
I
why
think
I've
we-
always done scissors.
I think we had this conversation earlier, that some of these packs don't seem as well glued,
oh,
and they break as easy as a tag graded slab, so just be careful if there's a strong breeze in your vicinity, because you might lose your slab and your pack. I don't actually hate tag, disclaimer, it's just a joke. Oh, let's see if batching's an issue again on this round.
If you've got the Ekans, it is.
ooh.
Now I've got Drowsy.
Phoebus.
I love that there's like, it is every time, even though we've discussed it, everyone's still a little bit like, oh, shh. Yeah, but he might have something good, be quiet.
Arcanine.
I don't know if you guys are doing the same, but I'm like holding my breath as we're going.
I feel like I accidentally
Okay,
or
we're on the
naturally
first
just
reverse.
do it anyway.
There
Yeah.
we go. Oh,
Gyarados reverse. It's very nice. You got anything?
Team
Mush?
Rocket's Meowth.
Okay, you ready?
nothing there. Ooh, we got an EX.
Garchomp EX.
Oh,
very nice.
Garchomp EX!
Hang about.
Batching is an
This
issue in
podcast is
Pokemon.
sponsored by Garchomp EX.
I feel left out now.
Very
boys, I
nice.
won't lie.
Don't worry, in your next pack, what you'll probably get is
Could
a
you
Garchomp
imagine if we
EX.
all pulled Garchomp? Let me get a sleeve for that bad boy quickly. Can't leave that unsleeved.
Bro, I keep them to hand. I don't mess around. Volt X, get some sleeves from there. Use code PokeMush, 10% off your order.
Practice safe
Full code
Pokemon.
time zone.
kids.
Shut up.
Alright. Pack numero tres.
God, hang on, I was sleeve in my hit. We have good pack behaviour here on the podcast. We look
We
after
do.
our hits. We care for our stuff.
That's right, because this is where I pull out the Mewtwo. Live on podcast.
Okay,
Ready?
batching's not an issue in this set. We're good.
Oh, what's that? My boy.
Nice more
Tarantula. I love this Blipbug, by the way, where he's trying to stuff all the
Yeah.
Pokeballs in a locker or something. It's great.
Even the trainer cards are great in this set.
Yeah,
Honestly.
there's nothing in this set that's bad. That Crobat,
Right, first
phenomenal.
reverse. First reverse.
Hang on. Yep, I'm at my first reverse.
Second.
Okay, no,
Here we go.
is there going to be a big hit?
Ah, nothing.
Go on, Mush. Finish us off.
Oh,
Yay!
Do I get
Very
double?
Nice.
We got
Very,
the
very nice.
Kangaskhan.
let's go. Nice.
Such a beautiful card.
I'm saying this now. Why is this not a Quagsire card? If my boy's going to be on the card, he deserves a little bit more treatment.
Very
Aw,
nice.
Cool.
I need
That's
that
not
EX
bad.
as well, so it's a win for me, and it's a new set. I saw a couple of commons I need there, so I'll enjoy going through them after this.
I'll take my my two bangers. Not too shabby. That Kangaskhan is great though.
So good.
Phenomenal artwork. Oh, there's my phenomenon.
I just love those.
There's our first AJ Styles of the outing.
I just love how different it is for a Kangaskhan card as well. Like you expect him to have like a big, imposing kind of card, but here he is just crossing the road to have a little natter with his good buddy Quagsire.
What
That's it.
I actually love, my favourite detail of the whole thing is the baby Kangaskhan just reaching out to try and like.
I was just about to say the baby Kangaskhan talking to Quagsire as well. Like,
I think there's a lot to be said about this set that it's been really well advertised. Yeah, so you've got one as well. It's been really well advertised. It's been thoroughly well printed. It's become available for pretty much everybody. A lot of companies have gone out of their way to make sure that everybody can have an amount, or you can only buy so many by yourself. Like I went into One Stop and they were like, you can buy 5 packs. That's what you get. Or you can buy the half booster in its entirety. And 3 people ahead of me all were grunting and groaning about buying 5 packs between them, and I was like, why don't all 3 of you chip in, buy the half booster, and then you can have 6 each.
Exactly. And I think from what I was seeing out today, it was mostly positive. I did hear a couple of murmurings of people selling stuff on eBay, which is always going to be disappointing. And the same person that bragged about the the court date tomorrow was bragging that his missus is disappointed that he's joined this hobby, but she won't be laughing in 5 years when I've made millions selling my cards. Anyway, what was good was, like you said, all the shops, I think the maximum on single packs was 5 per person, except from WH Smith that were doing 10 per person. But yeah, the rest were like 1 ETB max, 2 triple blisters max, 5 packs max. And that was normally in one store. That's the most you can get. So about just short of £100 worth of cards. And not many people were grumbling. I think most people were very accepting of it. I also said on my Instagram post earlier that there was, even in the queue for Waterstones, there was a dad with his 2 kids, and they went into Ryman's, I think, but they could only get 1 pack for each of his kids because they were doing 3 packs maximum. So it was him and his 2 children, so they only got a pack each. So a few of us just said, jump in front of all of us because you guys deserve it a bit more. And they got I think 2 of the last ETBs in the store. And I didn't need one because I had one coming. So
that's exactly how it should be. And the same for me. When I went to my local card shop, I only went in to grab some packs just so we could open here and discuss, but also to grab an ETB for my friend. And when I got there, he only had 2 left, and a friend of mine had already reserved one. But because he had a Pokemon Center one coming, he let me take his. And that's what Pokemon is at the end of the day. Although we have a laugh and we have a joke and we take the mick, Pokemon at the end of the day, it is a community game. It's no different to if somebody wants to hop on and we go and do raids and I carry Jode around 4 hours worth of raids because she can't remember that psychic types beat poison types or whatever, you know. It's a team thing. It's a community aspect, and we're all here to enjoy the space and enjoy the things that we have. And it's very apt that often you will get the best and the worst on the same day when it comes to release day, because you'll get beautiful moments like that where Tone and people in the queue are going to go out of their way to give up what is product that they could have themselves for young people to come in and enjoy the hobby. But at the same time, I'll go on eBay because I've got to go and look for a common card that I need for my master set, and 90% of the time I will see somebody's bloody passenger seat in their car with a Destined Rivals ETB. If you are one of these people that drives a Ford Focus and works 9 to 5 Monday to Friday and scalps ETBs, feel free to stub your toe, alright? Because I don't want to see it anymore. And as we go away from talking about how great Destined Rivals is, and we've all had some hits, I think it's a wonderful, wonderful way to open the door and step in to the moan zone.
What's going on, guys? So today I'm going to keep it short and brief, and today I'm going to actually go something we were just talking about and visit the topic of queuing systems. Let's start with the big one. I think we all know where it's going, I hope. There is this lovely mascot of a Pokemon. We all know it. It is yellow. Its name is Pikachu. And it sometimes dresses as a delivery person. And it has caused so much anger among this community, myself included. I know my fellow co-hosts are as equally angry with that little mouse. And I'm guaranteeing if you are listening to this, you have seen that mouse and it has probably haunted your dreams once or twice, especially in the last year. Queuing virtually is a nightmare. It is not good. I understand the premise of it. I understand why it needs to be done. But my goodness, to be what is the retailer for Pokemon cards, the Pokemon Center, and it cannot get it right. I do not want to be logging in and waiting in a queue and waiting and waiting and waiting. I'm not stuttering. I'm just doing how long it bloody takes. Yeah? For me to then get into the site, for it to crash, to jump me back in the queue of over 1 million people. What is going on? It needs to be better. The queuing system is crazy, and you'd think for a shop like Pokemon Center it would be organized, there'd be some sort of stability, and it is not. We are seeing other stores are utilizing similar queue tactics. I don't know why. I understand because it's the Pokemon Center, you may want to copy the trend or join in or think, do you know what, this might work for me. I'm really struggling with bots. It's always going to be a problem when you're an online retailer, I understand. But if you see something not working, why copy it? Why would you do it? I want to understand. I want to understand why that is the only system that works. Now, this is the moan zone. So there are positives to this. I'm going to let Ed go through it later on when we talk about lottery systems. We're going to stick to queuing because it is a joke. And I want to talk about the queuing systems I saw today. Queuing systems, we were just saying, yeah, they were really positive. But again, it didn't work for some people because of the limited amount of stock. And that's also an issue. Queuing systems don't work when there's not enough stock to cover the demand. You see people queuing, there's next to no information until a lovely poor woman that has to deal with loads of some teenagers, some grown adults that are moaning about product they want to buy. She has to come out and deal with this massive queue of people and say, there's only 20 ETBs. And there's a queue of 40 people standing there. They could have put a sign out letting us know how many. Just a thought. But queuing systems, both virtually, both in person, they need to be better. They need to work. They need to work for the consumer. And I think we're all agreed, none of us want to see that little yellow mouse dressed up as a postman ever again. Please, Pokemon Center, if you by any chance listen to our podcast, we love you, of course, it's Pokemon, but sort your website out. And I know there's a lot of collectors listening to this that sometimes just want to jump on to buy a set of stickers or plushies. We know that this hobby loves their plushies, and even they can't even jump in just to get their little bears because you can't handle your queues. Make it work, make it better for everyone, please. Now, looking at the stock aspect, Pokemon, we love you. You provide us with so much nostalgia and happiness and cards and games and plushes and figures and everything we love to collect and show off in Pokemon. Why can't you provide us stock? Don't tell me you do. Do not tell me you do, because there's many of us that have still not even got their hands on Blooming Waters. There's still many of us that haven't got their hands on Prismatic. There's still many of us that haven't got their hands on bloody Surging. I understand, again, that businesses have ways to run and they've got what they're doing and how it works. But right now, your stock ratio compared to consumer needs is not working. And yes, I get it. It's because of how the hobby's become recently. Scalpers, I'm looking back at you guys again. I understand. Because we look back at pre-surging and it wasn't like this. I could walk into Argos and have an absolute variety of packs to choose from. I can't tell you the last time I've gone into Argos and there's been anything. Scarlet and Violet base, gone. Paradox, gone. Them two were like two sets that you could easily get when you're at your lowest of lows and you just need that pack rip. You always had sets like that to fall back on. You haven't even got that anymore. They're tins, they're mini tins. They're £8 to £9 or 2 for £15 mini tins. Gone. Because everyone just is running in desperately grabbing packs. As a multi-million, if not billion-dollar pound company, can you not get more printing houses, printing factories? Like, I just want to understand. I would love to know where the money is invested on the TCG side and why opening more shops and houses and warehouses is not happening. And if it is, then maybe I am wrong. But I can't see the proof yet. I don't know if either of you can. But again, it's never been this bad since about November, December. It has become abysmal. The fact we're all talking about desperately trying to hunt and get stock that chat was never that bad before. Maybe on opening weekend, but even the most chased out sets throughout SMV pre-surging, everyone got their hands on it. Dead easy. And like I said, back then, for a booster box, you're looking at 110. Now you're paying over the odds because there is limited availability. Pokemon, please print more. So, to finish off a very quick time zone this week, queuing systems need to be better for all, for everyone, because they need to work for the consumer. Currently, they are not at all. They need to change the queuing system mascot. I can feel my blood boiling. And they need to provide much more stock. And I understand there are going to be collectors listening to this podcast that disagree with me vehemently because they want as little amount of Moonbryons and Magikarps and all the big pools that everyone wants. They want as little as much because it makes them feel better. And I think we might be agreed, at least on the podcast, that that's not what makes the hobby fun for us. The exclusivity. It's more the connectivity, the collectivity that we enjoy. But we can't collect when there's no product. Even if were able to get our hands on packs that didn't have the best pull rates, but we got our hands on packs, it would feel like, oh, do you know what? We're not being so hard done by. But it does have that feeling of being hard done by, because there's a company that could probably provide us so much more than they are, but we are stuck with the scraps that we can get. And we're talking, as positively as it was at the start, we're talking about having to go out in the wild and queue up and desperately wait in a line to try and get packs. Until Journey Together, I never had to do it. And now I'm having to book a day off work to be able to go to the shop to get packs, just in case I can't get them anymore.
I think as someone that works on websites like front end and back end day in, day out, the way that the Pokemon Center actually run it is abysmal. I mean, the fact that when a queue is triggered, that's a mix of UK and US people. That's why, like, overnight, I say overnight, in seconds, you'll have like over 1 million people in the queue. Nothing's even dropped on our website because we get the dregs of the American stock. They're all getting 151 booster bundles. We're getting a restock on Shrouded. Like, I love Shrouded Fable as a set, but if it's that or 151, I'm taking 151 every time. I mean, that server is
really
running on a geriatric hamster in a wheel. Like, it doesn't work. And in
A geriatric hamster, the stressed as a delivery.
I do think Pokemon Company do have the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever, and instead of actually addressing these stock issues, they just bring out a Pokemon called Stock, and they just print that, and that's all we get. So next time we're complaining about stock, it's in the latest generation of Pokemon, and you can get it whenever you want.
But again, you know what they're going to do with that? They're going to release it in the next generation of games, and they're going to tell you what route it's on, and you're going to go into that route, and it's never going to be there.
It's going to have a 1% spawn rate. And only at night, and only if it's Tuesday, and only between the time of 2:01 and 2:03.
I'm still waiting to go on TCG Pocket, and it'd just be like, oh, unfortunately, we're sold out.
Yeah. That actually reminds me of one last point to finish off the moan zone. To go back to the queues, the online queuing, is recently we've been blessed with a lot of stores that are giving heads up on when their stock is going to drop. But this is the moan zone. So we're going to focus on the stores that do random drops. I am a 9-to-5 worker. I was a little bit different than that, but I work Monday to Friday. And I've lost count on how many times I have checked our group chat, and we're all very good, and it's a good reason that the community is key in this hobby, is we're really good at keeping each other updated when things go live in certain stores. I also know there's many Discords, many group chats, everyone out there is doing the same, which still makes it really difficult if you've just randomly dropped something on us and we haven't had time to prepare. So for the ones of us that are busy working or busy doing their lives, we all have lives outside this hobby, and you jump back on your phone and you're like, oh, Destined Rivals has dropped at this shop 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
It is heartbreaking. It's heart-wrenching. And it happened to me with Prismatic a lot, where I remember the group chat was, oh, we managed to get this and we managed to get this. And I think the most heartbreaking, bringing it back to Destined Rivals, was there was a very busy day at work once. And I jumped into the chat and everyone had discussed how they got their Smiths pre-orders in. I didn't even know Smiths was dropping pre-orders. And most of the group chat had secured something. And when I jumped on the website, I was hours behind and I'd missed out. And I was like, do you know what? I will go somewhere else. And luckily enough, I shouted them out last week. I shouted them again. Binderful, incredible store for TCG. Go check them out. They managed to sort me out something. And then last night, I am busy doing things at home. And I checked the group chat late at night. I'd missed another Smith drop. And I could have probably secured something for when I went there today. Couldn't get myself an ETB because they had dropped again. No notice. Everyone else had known. Those little drops really hinder people that are busy with their lives. And I get it, maybe, if it's you're wanting to make sure scalpers aren't aware. But then your genuine collectors aren't aware either. Maybe someone in the community knows of a way that this can be fixed, or maybe I am wrong. I don't think I am. I could be. But it isn't fair for a lot of people out there.
I 100% agree. Like yourself, I work in retail. I am your everyday bog standard retail worker, and I either work god awful early or god late at night. And there are times where I will spend 7 to 8 hours nowhere near my phone. And if it is, it's 20 minutes when I get to have 5 seconds to myself, and then the other 19 minutes and 55 seconds of somebody going, have you finished your break yet? No, I haven't, John. Just bloody wait. All right? And it's a really, really good way that you've ended that I can steal this and run it into my next segment, because we're going to go in and talk about graded cards. And I want to say something that has been really agging at me for the last 2 months. Okay? Grading companies. If you're going to close or lock submissions down so that you're not accepting anything else, and somebody like myself who's had a submission ready to go with your company since the 31st of March, you should have a notification system that tells me that you've got things open again. Because when myself is wanting to spend 100, 200, 300 pound to send you my shiny cardboard that I consider to be my most precious possessions, and I see 10, 20, 30 people getting in front of me and getting their submission sent off within 2 minutes of getting on there, and I have to spend 2 months fighting to know when you've got submission lanes open.
Absolutely.
Sort it out, because it's not fair that I want to spend money with you. I am a fan of you as a company. I'm a fan of what you do. I'm a fan of your brand. I'm a fan of your product, and I want to get involved and I want to submit my cards to you. It isn't fair that suddenly, randomly, Thursday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you open the lanes for 34 minutes. But, oh, wait, old Joey James over there has got 100 cards from his Whatnot server, and he sent them all in because he's going to go and get 20,000 tens. It's hard work in this system to know when things are happening, especially if you're not super glued to your Instagram, to your Facebook, to your Pokemon news. We need something that is for everybody. And honestly, big shout out, I'm part of two group chats, one with like 5 people in that are just local to my area, and one with all of the PokePals and you guys especially, right? And both of them shouted today and let me know that Ace Grading had submissions going. 3 times I had to submit it, and I didn't even know if my submission had gone through until an hour later when I got the email going, we're waiting for your submission. To which I went, are you? Me too. Didn't realise. Thanks ever so much. I'll get that sent off. But grading cards is something that we want to talk about today, and it's not something we're going to spend ages on, but it's something that all 3 of us want to discuss. And I think the main issue that I always find, and this is where I'm going to start us off with, is what truly is a graded card 10. I have Ace 10s, I have PSA 10s, I even have a PG 10. But if I was to crack all 3 of them and send them to opposite companies either way, are they getting 10s? There's no guarantee for that, because there's no community baseline. if I send a PSA 1 to Ace, I expect it to get a 1. If I send an Ace 1 to PG, I expect a 1. If I send a PG 1 to CGC, I expect a 1. It has to be across the board. I cannot crack a PSA 10 because I want it to go to Ace because I want the art match label and it come back at 8. Because then that makes either the PSA 10 completely unvaluable and completely disbelievable, or it means that Ace are really harsh and have graded me down for zero reason. There is no baseline. There is no workable area. If PG give it a 10,
I agree.
CGC have to give it a 10. And so on. That's how that level should work, because there should be at no point where you send your cards off to somebody else. Say if you send all of your cards to Ace and you've got, I'm trying to think of a card. Let's take the Charizard from Obsidian Flames, the cracked glass SIR, as an example, right? If you send it to Ace and you get the art label back and you're like, you know what, I don't really like it, and the PSA 10 goes for £20 more. So for the sake of it, I'm going to crack it and send it to PSA, and you send it there and it comes back a 9, you've just lost all that money. You've lost that investment, you've lost that time, you've lost that money that you've spent not only to grade it with 2 companies, but you've lost it on resale value. Now, I'm not a big fan of I've graded it just to resell it. Whatever. Some things I will grade to sell because they're just, obviously they're silly, they're silly money, and that's fine. But a lot of the things that I grade because I want to keep them, and I want them encapsulated in nice slabs, and I'm a really big fan of Ace slabs and
clarify something?
I think that
just so that I know, because as we all know on this pod by now, I don't collect slabs. If I get a slab regraded with another company, do I have to crack it and then send it, or do I send it in the slab?
It varies by company, that one. It's quite a tricky one, because I think if you're grading from someone else to PSA, I mean, this is only going through, say, like the sub-center, you are able to say, do not crack and regrade unless it's going to have the same grade. So that's the only time that, like, that kind of, this is a 10 in this company, it should be a 10 in this company as well. I think it very much depends on the grading company as to whether or not you have to send it in cracked or if they do it themselves. I think they do have insurances for it, but it's one will say yes, one will say no.
Okay.
So Ace have an opportunity where, like, I've got a PG 10 that I want to send to Ace because I want the card with the Ace label because it looks fantastic. So I can just send that slab in, and they will do that for me. But to go back to Ed's point of the don't crack it unless, how are they going to know? How could you send, like, how could I send my Ace 10 to PSA and say don't crack it unless you're going to give it a 10? How would they know? Because they need to crack it to look at the card. That is like, we're going to play football now, but we've turned all the lights off and the ball's made out of fresh air. That doesn't make any sense. And how does that work? It's yeah, well, just remember Tottenham won a trophy. All right.
There's quite a few things I actually want to touch on with this whole grading thing, because I mean, I'm someone that I've got nearly like 30 slabs at this point. I absolutely love graded cards just because some of them, like, I've got the full Unigaba promo set in Ace 10s with the Ace match label. They could go up to like 10 grand and I wouldn't sell them. I absolutely adore those cards. They were the first things that I personally graded myself and everything. But what annoys me is how you've got PSA 10, supposedly the standard bearer, whatever. You've got CGC 10, worth less than a PSA 10. But then you've got CGC's pristine 10. So it's a 10 plus, which a card is a 10 or it isn't. You can't have this 10's better than that 10 though, because then, well, the one that's not as good shouldn't be a 10.
Isn't that the same as Beckett as
exactly
well? Don't they have
the same.
Black label?
Yeah, and then we've got the Beckett Black label, because my Black label is nicer than your PSA 10. No, it isn't. It's a 10. That is the difference between... It's like those finicky children that I went to school with and you know who you are. Like, oh, I got an A star. Brilliant. Well done. You got a percentage more than the kid that got an A. You are no better off, okay? You're still going to end up flipping burgers at Mackey's and then eventually just stacking shelves in Tesco because the job market is as volatile as Magmar's breath. It is infuriating that we can come to this kind of situation where, again, it's this... As Ed said, there is no level. Like, oh, I've got a CGC pristine. Great. But the slab's ugly. I've got a Beckett Black label.
Then
it's
for
better
me
than
as
your
that
PSA
doesn't
10.
collect the slabs, and I'm going into a chat that I think we had in our podcast earlier, in our group chat, where there are some grading companies that have a grading system and tell you exactly why,
Yeah.
exactly what it was marked down for, exactly what let it down or what made it the 10 it is.
Yeah.
Whereas others will just send it to you and be like, there you go. You don't know why it got a 9 or why it got an 8. You don't know what
Yeah.
let it down. You just get given a grade and you're not told why.
No, that's something that's so like massive, and I feel like when PSA was like the only big grading company, it was like it or leave it. Like you had no option. Now that there are all these alternatives, like Beckett, you at least get subgrades. Ace, you get a bit of a grading report. You can pay an extra £2, and it'll give you any sort of like grader commentary. It's not the most amazing thing, but again, you get that little bit of insight that can make you at least go, "Oh no, fair. I can understand that." I've seen some PSA 10s that shouldn't be over a 6. I've seen some PSA 8s that are 10s all day long. The only grading company that I think absolutely nails this is Tag. The fact that it's AI graded means that it should be consistent. You should be able to crack that slab, send the card back in, and it get the same exact score unless you've damaged it in either the cracking process or in transport. But you get such a detailed breakdown that you can actually see every possible reason and even understand the mathematical equation that gives your like card that overall score. It makes sense, and I think nowadays that actually needs to be the minimum, is that you get some kind of explanation as to why your card gets the grade that it does. I mean,
Absolutely.
for us in the UK especially, I mean, shout out to all the fantastic middlemen services that we have in the UK. I've used the Sub Centre personally. I know a lot of people use the likes of Trust Grading, for instance. Absolutely fantastic like services that they provide, but we're having to send our cards to them to then send them overseas. Like Mush was talking about earlier with Ace, like submissions are open or they're not. With like these American companies, the cards go over, they're always accepting, but you could get that card back in 3 months, you could get it back in 12 months. And if you wait 12 months to get a PSA card back that you think is an absolute banker for a 10 and it gets a 4, and you're left none the wiser as to why that happens, it isn't good enough for the service that like you're paying for. They are not providing. Someone's just looking at that and going, yeah, 7, why not? Makes no
Especially
difference
when you're
to them.
meant to be the company.
Yeah.
You're meant to be the ones that people look up to.
It is that's the, for me, and I'll use a football analogy because it's the best way I can describe it, right? PSA are the Man United of grading companies. 10 years ago, when nobody else was doing anything good and they had the squad, the money and the goals behind them, they were the standard bearer. And now Ace, Tag and other companies have come in, even CGC have come in, and they've brought in their own take on things. When you've got the Beckett Black Label, you've got the CGC Premium, Pristine, sorry, you've got the Ace with their art match labels and their turnaround times, which are I've used Ace 3 or 4 times and every time has been phenomenal, and they're usually, give or take a couple of days, bang on their timeline. These people are coming in and they're offering services that just outweigh PSA, and yet PSA 10s still outprice Ace 10s, outprice other things, and the only things that are touching them are when you go into the Pristines and the Black Labels. We are at a point in Pokemon now where it is so big. We're approaching 30 years. Okay, 30 years of a video game that became a trading card game, that became a movie franchise, that became an anime, that became clothes, that became plushie. This thing has multiplied exponentially more than bunnies in a field on a really good shagging day. All right? There needs to be a standard across the entire board. Because if I have 3 PSA 10s, I've got 4 I can see in front of me. I think I've got 5 in total, right? But if I crack all 5 of them and I send them to Ace because I want them to have art match labels that I think would go really well, and they come back 9s, I've just wasted, let's say, £100. I've wasted £100 paying for the shipping, paying for the cost of the grading, paying for the art label, and paying for it. And it's one of those things that I will sit and analyse every single time it comes to going to grade things. Like, I'm about to send off 8 cards. 8 cards to Ace. It's just over £100. I'm banking that at least 6 of them are 10s. Like, I stared at them, I've magnifying glassed them. I have made sure that they are in the best condition they can be in. And 2 of them I've chucked in because I think the art match labels look fantastic. It's something that I will always analyse and I will always detailed look at before I send. But if they come back 9s and I crack them and send them to PSA and they got 10s, who am I angry at? Am I angry at PSA for not being available and me having to wait a year to get a 10? Or am I angry at Ace for not giving my card the grade it truly deserved? And it's exactly the same if it was the other way around. If I send a card to PSA and I have to wait a year and it comes back an 8, and I crack it and I send it to Ace and 6 days later it comes back a 10, where does my
and
frustration
this is why we need
go?
a system stating exactly what makes it exactly what grade. Because another thing that is spoken about so often in this community is it depends on the grader. And it's an awful thing to say, but, and again, not to call them out too much, but it happens the most with PSA, it seems. I could be wrong. But it does seem, you see PSA slabs that get an 8 and they get sent back to PSA and they get a 10. You see the opposite happen as well. It really depends on the grader on the day, and it shouldn't be someone going, 10. It should be, this is a 10 because this corner is perfect, this is perfect, the lines fit the 60-40 ratio, and this is this, and this is this, and boom. It should be all documented as to why, not just, this is, what, this just about right, let's give it a 10 anyway.
I think that's it, just across the board. We're not asking for anything special, we're just asking for transparency. Because, like, it's across the whole service in general. Like, the amount of times I've seen, like, grading turnaround 45 days, little asterisks. It's like, I could say, send me your cards, I'll grade them. Average turnaround time, 1 business day. I put that little asterisk by it. You're getting your card back on the 31st of February. Like, it's never happening, but it's okay because I've got that little asterisk. And then the same with the grading scale. I know everyone can't be giving away their like secrets behind their formulas and everything, but ultimately the waffle that you read through when it says about the grading scale, I don't care about what the vibe check is or anything like that. Literally just tell me the percentages that my card has to fit between to get a 10 on centering. That's all I want to know, and I also want to know why the grader gave it the score that it did, because if it's like a surface thing and I can clean it, that's fine. I'll crack it, I'll clean it, I'll resub it. That's on me for missing it the first time round. But when you send a card off, like mine are with PSA at the moment, I sent them off in the middle of March, it's now soon to be June at the time of recording, and I haven't got my cards back yet, which is still actually a relatively quick turnaround in theory, which is a mental thing to say. It's like, I'm expecting one of those cards, one of those cards is going to get a really random score. I'm not going to know why, and I will never know why, and that's the bit that frustrates me the most.
It's a topic that I feel like we could all bang on about until the cows come home, and we can have our grips and our gripes with everything, and we are right to do so. We are right to do so, and I know that we are just, as it stands, a small-time podcast on a social media app that people will probably watch while they're driving to and from work or while standing in the queue fighting with 5-year-olds over Destined Rivals ETBs. It's fine, just volley the child. We don't condone violence. But it's that same thing, right? My Ace submission is 30 business days, which is fine. That's kind of a standard one. And I probably, if I'm really lucky, will get it back in those 30 business days. But I've done it before where I've done their Premier, which is, I think, £15 a card. It says 10 business days. I had them back in 8. Fantastic. Ed, I think, has done the top tier one, which is 2.
Within those 2 days. So not even, like, it's graded in that time. Yeah. It's back in my possession in that time.
Yeah. Which is if you're going to offer a service, like if I was like, come and get your car cleaned with me, it will be clean when you come back. And then you come back and one half is clean and the other half looks like I've taken a poop on it. I've not given you the service that I've offered. And again, as I said previously, and as Ed's put very well so far, that we will analyse all of these things. We will analyse our cards, we'll analyse the price and the cost and give and take of everything that goes into it. but there has to be an industry standard.
Absolutely.
An industry standard. It's like refereeing in any sport. You can't suddenly just have one umpire that decides that that's in the line, and then one umpire that goes, nah, it was 30 feet out. You have to be at a baseline. So it's not that like PSA have to come over and go, yo, so basically what we do is we just decide on the day. Whereas ACE are going, but we take detailed pictures and use a magnifying glass. And then Tagger in the corner going, we use computers. All of you have to do something that is of a standard. That's all we're asking. And I don't think that's too much to ask. Now, we have sat and analysed the ins and outs of sending cards, grading cards, and what is a PSA 10 and what makes a Beckett 1 cooler than an Ace 3, and so on. And I think with all those numbers and all of those percentages, whimsical gadgets thrown out there, I think it's a really good time for us to vacate our little conversation of graded cards and move our way into the strongest analytics with Ed.
Welcome back to the Strongest Analytics, where we flex our TCG muscles and dive into the market trends. I'm your host, the Pokey Strongman, for this segment, and today we're spotlighting 3 heavy hitters from the Sword and Shield era. As Scarlet and Violet has come to the end with its final regular set release, I thought we could dive back into Sword and Shield and have a look at what sort of price movements we're seeing there. The ones that we're going to be looking at today are Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, and Evolving Skies. Let's have a look at the booster box trajectories and also highlight their top chase cards. So, Fusion Strike, SWSH08 for my set code sticklers out there, was released on the 12th of November 2021. At the time of launch, a booster box was available for around £120, so this is back in the days where you could actually pick up a booster box for below MSRP, which seems like a pipeline dream at this point, but that's by the by.
It's been 84 years.
I've never heard of monetary values so low. I'll take 5.
I'll give you a half a penny.
Do you remember booster boxes below MSRP? Pepperidge Farm remembers.
This is giving the "we know what you did last summer" vibe.
I'm actually on a rocking chair, you just can't see it. So the current price for a Fusion Strike booster box has exploded recently and is now, recent last solds on eBay as of today are £540. What I thought would be really interesting with this segment, as well as if we take a look at the top chase card from the set, just to get an idea of where the value truly is. Obviously, these sets are, in theory, vastly out of print now. Any stock that's there should be like left over and will be making its way into like the odd Asda restock every now and then, but there shouldn't be any new reprints of this. The Gengar VMAX alternate art that I have pulled myself is the top chase card from this set and is at the time of recording going for around £380 to £400 ungraded. This means that the actual booster box itself is worth over £140 more than the top value card, which you do expect because there is the potential that you could, in theory, pull like a few other big things that can kind of make up that value. But what I think is really interesting is that to justify this spend, if you are going to open that booster box, you need to hit the top chase card, and really, if you're going at it from a value perspective, you need to be able to grade that card in a 10 of whichever grading provider you go with, just to even break even or have like some kind of profit if that's what you're going for. But also it begs the question of, if I can buy the Gengar and that's the card that I want for £380, do I just pay the £380 and get it cheaper than buying a booster box and having an existential crisis when the best thing I've pulled is a few reverse hollows? Again, the Gengar VMAX alternate art, fantastic card, my favourite modern art of this era of Pokemon entirely. I can see why it gets the value that it does, but seeing how the booster box stacks up to it, it's quite eye-opening. And this is something that I found whilst doing all of this research in general. When we look at Lost Origin, SWSH11 for my set code sticklers, launched on the 9th of September 2022. Again, at the time of launch, a booster box was around £115, so again, below MSRP. The current price for last solds is £400, and again, this is one that's increasing daily. Interestingly here, the top chase card from the set, the Giratina V alternate art has a current value of around £420. So this is one where it actually bucks the trend that we saw with Fusion Strike, in that the top chase card is actually more valuable than the booster box, which means, again, it's not a guarantee that you're going to hit it. There are a ton of great cards in this set. All of the Giratinas are fantastic, but if it comes between pulling a £420 Giratina or a £2 Giratina, you've got the same odds really of pulling it from the booster box. So it's one of these where the top chase is more valuable than the booster box, which in theory makes the booster box almost a better buy, and a long-term hold has that better potential, because again, you'd have to get the card, you'd have to potentially grade it or keep it in immaculate condition, and again, if you get a 9, it's raw price. If you get the 10, that's where you start to get that real value return. We couldn't talk about the Sword and Shield era without talking about Evolving Skies, or Evolving Cries as it is more aptly known. Released on the 27th of August 2021, this set, SWSH07, don't think I've forgotten about you boys out there, launched at approximately £140. Now, this was a bit sort of out of the ordinary at the time for the Sword and Shield era of cards, but as this was a very evolution heavy deck, set rather, it's no surprise that this had that extra premium like we've seen with Prismatic recently. The current price for a booster box last sold is hovering around the £1,500 mark, which is absolutely ludicrous for a modern era booster box when you think that this set is actually only not even 4 years old at this point, and it's catching up to that £2,000 mark. Again, the reason for this is the, in my opinion, most overhyped card of the modern era, the Umbreon VMAX, or the Moonbreon, which has actually seen a dip in value recently. Good. Where the card raw is hovering around £1,000, which I mean is still absolutely ludicrous for the card that it is. But again, when you think that a booster box is 1,500, the top chase card is actually only, I say only, but is like 67% of the value of the booster box. When you're looking at these bigger numbers, if you want that top chase card, do not try to pull it from a booster box. Buy it outright. Save your money and get that guarantee. Again, this set is one that has a lot of fantastic artworks. The Moonbreon is the one that's been the top chase, the most valuable card of the modern era, whether you agree with it or not. Again, this is a time where the top chase card is significantly less than the booster box price, so if you are after it, please just buy it outright. Do not try to pull it from packs, especially if you're buying a random pack from somewhere, presumably online off of Vinted or eBay, for £25 that has likely either been resealed or weighed. The Sword and Shield era provided a roller coaster of values, with sets like Evolving Skies reaching unprecedented heights. Fusion Strike and Lost Origin have also shown commendable growth, but Evolving Sky stands out as a testament to the power of the artwork, character popularity, and the overall market demand inflating the cost of these cards. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a newcomer, understanding these market trends can give you some investment and collecting advice and decisions for either your short-term or long-term collecting goals. Remember that the TCG world is ever evolving, and today's underdog could be tomorrow's treasure. That's all for today's segment on Strongest Analytics. Stay tuned for more insights into the Pokemon TCG world. Until next time, happy collecting and stay strong. Speaking of staying strong, let's take a look at our strong picks for this little card of ours.
Thank you ever so much, Ed, for another wonderful look at all of the monetary values that I will never ever be able to spend on cards that I don't really like.
Bloody hearing some of the prices was sickening, man.
The numbers become made up after a point.
Honestly, right now I'm only been back in for like a year, coming up to a year in the TCG collection, and I'm very fortunate that within that year I've managed to meet you guys. We've managed to build something really, really great here on the PokePals podcast, and I've managed to build up a nice collection of things that I really like. Now, Evolving Skies was not something that I was even aware of. Somebody said Rayquaza, and I was like, for a good half an hour, because we all know the one that I'm on about. It's absolutely gorgeous, but there's something about it not being vintage, because it's not vintage, right? If something 5 years ago is vintage, I'm worried. Okay?
Honestly.
But being able, and this is one where maybe it comes from a side of jealousy, but just being able to spend that much on a booster box just for the sake of it, I'm not having it. But that is neither here nor there nor anywhere, because this week it is a glorious week here on the podcast, and I may say this with a smile on my face, which may give away the results, but I don't care, because I'm the Mush who loves the Mons, and my Mon won. So there's a
I
little
got told
spoiler.
off for smiling last week.
Yeah, well, do you know
Where's
what?
this?
I'm in
Where's
charge.
this?
All right? I'm the referee. Red
Like
card.
grading, we need standards here, yeah? Alright?
Look, I'm PSA, mate. I'm untouchable, all right? You're going to pay me, and you're going to wait 6 months to find out. Now, yes, it is a spoiler, and yes, I am very gracious that in first place this week, with 46% of the vote, you will find my good boy Houndoom is the winner, and unfortunately, with 24% of the votes in final place, it is Strongman's Blastoise. Now, before I do reveal that Tone got 29% of the vote, which I've just done secretly, oi oi, I will warn you that all of your frying pans are in danger. Because Ed has been bottom 2 weeks in a row. And a man that strong and a man that handsome should never be on the bottom. Okay? Now, as it stands here with our little card of ours, my Houndoom must stand the test of time, the strength and power of other cards as it comes towards it. So, my Houndoom will stay upon the throne, and it must be challenged by our two new challengers. Now, Ed, who are you bringing to the table this week?
I thought in commemoration of Destined Rivals coming out and it being the Team Rocket set, I've actually brought out something that I know that you boys absolutely love, and it's something that as soon as I saw it, I had to have it. I have got the 1999 Coro Coro promo Giovanni's Nidoking. This card is absolutely sensational, and if you look at the artwork, very similar in terms of posing as to what the SAR is in Destined Rivals. This card, I am working my way through collecting all the Nidokings at the moment. I stumbled upon it at a card show, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, I don't care what the price is on this, I need this. It's old back, Coro Coro promo. It does not get better than this. If this doesn't win,
Very nice.
I will cry and cry and cry.
To be honest, I just want to state this now. You've got my vote. All right? I don't care if Tone's got 6 Bubble Mews in 4 different languages. All right, that Coro Coro promo is fantastic. There is something about old Japanese promos and the old backs as well that just hit different. Now, Tone, to beat my Houndoom, you're going to have to try really hard, but to beat Ed's Nidoking, you're going to have to pull out some kind of phenomenal card. So, your little card of yours for this week is...
Well, I was going to go with a poll I got today, but it's a bit similar to what you've got, so I'm going to just place that back down.
I'm going to see that thing in my nightmares.
Just either side of you, both languages closing in.
Each time I hear a dog bark, I start twitching.
That will only be if you lose this week, to be honest. But no, I'm not going to go with that. I can't put card against card, Japanese versus English, because English will probably lose. So I wanted to go with a card that is close to my heart. Anyone that knows me from Instagram or whatnot knows that I have the worst luck at pulling SIRs for myself. And there was one SIR in the SMV era that I really, really, really wanted to pull myself. And I did. And it's one of them videos that I still like going back to because I cut the tune that I put over the pack opening so that you could hear my reaction, and I went crazy. And it is, of course, Squirtle Evolved. It is the Blastoise. So today, with that little lovely hollow design, I am bringing to you Big Man Blastoise. That's the card I'm going for today. Big Man Blastoise.
If that Blastoise wins, and this one came last...
Look,
I don't know why, but immediately, right in the back of my brain just went, so it's a Blastoise, because it came last.
But this one won't be a Blastoise.
It's a Firstoise!
Is a phenomenal card. Yeah, I'm using the word. And honestly, I understand everyone loves the Zard because it's Zard.
Nah, it's
but
rubbish.
realistically,
No.
especially out of the three, I'm not even going to say it's the best SIR 151 because it's not. But when you compare it to the other two, I think personally it is the best of the big three. And I just think having it just looks so powerful and good, but you're not seeing it look angry and aggressive like you do with a lot of Blastoise cards, or just standing there, which is a lot of again, I love Blastoise, one of my favourite Pokemon, but just seeing it deep in the water like that, just for me, mwah, and just, oh yeah.
It is beautiful, and I will say, to be fair, it's got the best actual framing of the Pokemon out of the big three SARs.
I could not agree. I was just about to say what Ed said. That for me, it's actually Blastoise, Venusaur, Charizard. I hate that Charizard for two reasons. One, it is blown out of the water like a Blastoise using Shell Smash. And two, it has no neck.
It's no neck.
It's got no neck. It looks like me at 3 in the morning. It's got no neck. It's crumpled. It's watching YouTube at a funny angle because the missus is asleep. It's horrible. And Venusaur, I actually think is a fantastic artwork that's really well drawn. And although not as perfectly framed because it's kind of higher up the card, I still think it's an absolutely beautiful piece of art.
Oh, it's
and
stunning.
no one talks about it. But obviously, we all are in agreement that it's clearly Zapdos, Alakazam, Blastoise, Venusaur, Charizard.
Yeah.
Feel free to argue, but you're wrong, so it's fine.
Couldn't possibly.
Shut up. I've got no frying pans. Leave me alone. So, Mush's Houndoom.
Tone's Blastoise.
Ed's Nidoking.
Ed's Nidoking's winning. I'm flat out calling it now. And if it doesn't win,
I kind of wish I went before Ed. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
if Ed, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It was fully like you watch WrestleMania and oh, don't worry, you're the main event, but you're the first match on the card. It's shout out Jey Uso. Like he watches this, like he even cares about shiny cardboard, which he should. And it's funny that once again I say things that lead into our next segment because as I say shout out, we as a podcast have decided to bring a brand new segment to our podcast and where we want to say nice things about you guys who say nice things about us and do lovely things within your community. So I, as the Pokemush who loves the Mons, would like to welcome you to the Shoutout Sessions. Welcome to the very first Shoutout Sessions here on the PokePals Pokemon podcast, where we want to say nice things about you guys in the community. And to kick us off this week, we have a wonderful, wonderful little thing that we've been sent by Alan Lavery, who has brought this wonderful ETB design to life from Ed's idea, where it was the Mewtwo's cloned Pokemon as a Pokemon card set. It is a really great piece of art. Alan's done a really, really great job bringing this to life, and I'm now bitterly hurt that this doesn't exist. Not only was Ed's idea fantastic, but the way that Alan has drawn said ETB, it just... I need it now. So Pokemon, you know, there are many things that you've done that I'm very happy with.
Pokemon needs to hire him.
Yeah, like
It was.
I'll flash up on the screen now a couple more that he's done. Sort it out, Pokemon. We'll design sets for you. We're happy to help. Honestly, there is absolutely no worries there. But yeah, a nice shout out to Alan Lavery and his ETB designs for card sets that, although not real, need to be created. Tone, over to you.
I just quickly want to jump in on that point. Could you imagine they make this set? They make it using Alan's design, and they make a set based on Mewtwo Returns, Mewtwo Strikes Back, and the artists that we currently have get involved. Can you imagine a Shinji Kanja Blastoise?
Oh,
Could you imagine a Yukamori Mewtwo? These little things that the artist could bring to that. That's just the image I've got now, where the artists are on board and they jump in. They're like, "Yeah, we're gonna run with this."
You said Shinji Kanda and a little bit of Ed melted.
There is just wet patches on the floor around me at the moment.
And not because it's warm.
No, it's quite cold in this room. I've got many fans on the go.
But no, my shout out for this week is going to go to a very, very glorious man in this community. He's one of, if not my best mate in this community. And another person I've never met in person. But I want to shout out the man whose art is phenomenal, the Sandshrew lover himself, Arthur Toads. If you remember back to the start of this podcast, Our brand new PokePals podcast logo was designed by Artoads. If you see behind me my personal logos, most of the art on my wall is designed by him. He is an absolute legend. He's one of the kindest souls in this community. At Christmas, he done a drive where he collected loads of bulk cards and bulk Pokemon items from a lot of collectors in the community and gave them away to children for charity. He is an absolute diamond of a person, and we need more people like Toads in this community. So Toads, from all us, mainly for our logo, but for every other little thing you do, thank you.
Absolute goat. Got nothing more to add. What a legend. Thanks, Jamie.
What a class act. And then from me, I've actually split my shout out into two different areas. The one is just all of the businesses that are selling at retail prices or below at a time where the Pokemon craze is unprecedented. From putting lottery systems in place to make it fair, for putting restrictions on products so that you can say buy one Destined Rivals item from this retailer. If you get that, you're not getting an ETB and a booster box. It makes it much fairer, it's equal opportunities, and it gives more people the chance to get hold of Pokemon cards at a time where it is so scarce. If you are one of these businesses, to reel off a few, you've got Chaos cards, you've got Eternity cards, there are so many to name that are doing the right thing. Bad's Gaming as well, so many of them are all taking positive steps in the right direction, and it is making the world of difference. Seeing how we are today, chatting about how we got our Destined Rivals, the fact that we are all smiling, we've all got some product, it's fantastic, and this is what Pokemon should be. Speaking of what Pokemon should be, the second shout out I want to give is to all of you lovely people out there in the community that are regularly posting updates of this is where stock is dropping. I've just managed to secure 3 packs from my local One Stop. If anyone's in this local area, check it out. Tone, how he allowed people to go in front of him so that they could get more access to product. The community aspect has been lacking from Pokemon over the last 6 months, where product craze is at an all-time high, scalping is off the charts. You guys that are doing this sort of thing are the ones that make the Pokemon community the amazing and safe space that it is, and I wanted to give a shout out to each and every one of you. You're all doing such a class act, it's making the world a difference. You're getting Pokemon cards into the hands of more people, and I absolutely love you for it. So from me, the PokePals on the podcast and beyond, I just wanted to say a big thank you.
It's just, honestly, you've taken a little bit of my breath away there. I've got a little tear in my eye. It's a beautiful sentiment, and I cannot back it anymore. I can't over exaggerate how you've put that. It resonates with me more than anything ever, and personally, I've never felt more loved in a community space than I have since being in the Pokemon one. And I know that there are multiple negatives, and we've all got our downsides, but there are brief moments in the day where my head goes and I'm gone and I need moments, and there are so many of you that will just reach out and go, hey, the ground's over here, buddy, bring yourself back down. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
It's all about so much more than the cards themselves. We go after these cards because they're the distraction from this world that we're living in, at a time where arguably everyone is the saddest they've ever been. This is that little break of serotonin that we all need. The community aspect is all more than just the cards themselves. I feel like the community is slowly but surely healing. We had it with the brilliant release of Journey Together, seeing scalpers having to return stock or selling it at retail prices. We've seen the increased pull rates. I mean, I have never seen so many top SARs hit as I have in just today alone with the Destined Rivals releases. It used to be you'd see 100 people, one person would get a good card. Now I'm seeing maybe 90 getting great cards and only a handful. I mean, they're still hitting EXs, so it's not completely dead. But I feel like all the little celebrations that we have, particularly on our Instagrams, like one of us could post a card that nothing technically special from a monetary value, but we're all supporting it because we all love it, and it's that sense of community and that brotherhood, sisterhood, everything. Pokemon is for everyone, and that's how it should be, and that is what we're getting back to.
Absolutely.
So once again, from me, from us, from the whole community, thank you.
That was beautiful. I'm taken aback by it. That was great. I think there's only one way we can truly move on from such a wonderful, wonderful community feeling, and that is with a very big announcement. We here at the PokePals Pokemon Podcast will be live at the Wolverhampton card show hosted by the PokeYarl. We are going to be live on set recording an episode of our PokePals podcast with you all there with us. We are going to be hosting a number of interviews with all of the vendors and people that come along. So if you come along and you want to hang out and say some things into our microphones, please do. We are going to be hosting. Yeah, come and chat to us. Come and hang out. It's going to be great. We are going to be hosting a few competitions. We're going to be doing a few bits and bobs here and there. And most importantly, as Pokemon fans, we're going to be buying your cards. So please bring all of your nice Arbox so that I may buy them all. And Steelixes.
Anyone got any
and so on.
unknowns?
Yeah, if you've got any unknowns, Toads needs like 30 of them. However many there are. I would love to see as well, Tone, a trend. I don't know why this came to my head, and I know we're doing an announcement. But every week, you do a different unknown for this little card of ours. So you go from A all the way to Z.
I debated doing that today.
I think it would
debated bringing the Neo A, the hollow one.
I think
debated
it would be great. But yes, we here at the PokePals podcast are going to be live and direct in your face, filming an episode of the podcast at the card show Saturday, the 30th of August, in the... I can't remember the name, but I'll flash it up.
In the Manda Centre, Wolverhampton.
In the Manda Centre
There we
in
go.
Wolverhampton. Luckily, we've got Ed here. He's the one that keeps us grounded and stable. But that is where we'll be. Saturday, the 30th of August. Come and see us. Come and answer our questions. Come and be interviewed. Come and hang out. Come and win some prizes. And
You may
generally,
feature on the podcast.
come and have a great time.
Come and have a great time.
Your experience may differ.
Asterix.
Massive asterisk.
Massive asterisk. Mush is actually socially anxious and doesn't talk as much as he does on this. It's going to be a lot of fun. I am going to my first major card show with my fellow co-hosts at LCS 2 weeks before, so I can get a lot of my weirdness out of my system there. Also, if you're at LCS, come and see us. We need content. And then after that, we're going 2 weeks later. We are going to be live there at Wolverhampton. I am really excited because I think
I'm
it's
buzzing.
something that, honestly, it's something that I don't think many people do. I don't see anybody hosting a live talk show or podcast at a card show. We're going to be
Not a
hosting
podcast,
competitions.
no.
We're going to be working alongside the vendors, and we're going to be interviewing with the PokeYarl himself to find out how he managed to put this wonderful event together. This wonderful event, by the way, costs nothing. You just got to pay for parking, and you can come in and out. There's lots of amenities. There is a community centre at the back where you can go and you can just have a look at your cards and keep it a little bit quiet, because like me, sometimes noise and lights are a bit too much for my little brain. And there is loads of vendors and lovely cool people going. So I cannot wait to meet everybody that goes. I can't wait to go around the card show and generally just enjoy the community vibes. How are you guys looking forward to it? Because obviously we've known about it for a couple of weeks now and it's been in the works, but now that we can finally get it out there in the world, how is it panning out for you?
I honestly cannot wait. I mean, I've been to a few card shows, but just as a buyer. I mean, the fact that you can go into this card show without having to spend anything is unbelievable. The PokeYarl has done something so community driven, and I can't wait for us to feature as part of it. I'm so looking forward to meeting all of you that attend, seeing what like you're collecting, because everyone's story is different. Like, you got Tone with his unknowns, you got Mush with his Arbox, me with any like big old kaiju Pokemon. Like, your stories are what make like the community what it is. Can't wait to hang around with you guys, take photos, ask you questions, get you on like clips. It's going to be one fun day, and I just can't wait to meet you all.
Yeah, no, I'm buzzing. I think you all can tell by now I'm a massive extrovert, and I'm going to be loud and proud and running around the show. I'm going to be mic'd up, so if you do see a little man running around, it's probably me. Come bump into me. Come talk to me. Yeah, no, I'm really excited to, again, on what Ed said, get everyone's opinions and get more of that community feel. Bring it to a podcast. Show to the world, at least our little bubble anyway, what the Pokemon community really is like. Because you see, there are some negatives at some card shows, but Not at this one, from what I've heard. This is such a community-driven thing. It's in a public space that welcomes the card show. It has got incredible vendors. I've seen the list, and I'm really excited about some of the people on there. The fact that we get to interview them as well and get their take and their perspective. And it's free. You just turn up and you pay parking. That is it. And parking is £2. That is it. For someone that lives in London, hearing cheap parking is amazing. I don't want to have to pay £10 every time I park. Yeah, so that is incredible. But I'm so excited. I love me a good card show, and when it's at the betterment of the community and about the community, not just about what shiny cardboard you can get, which I understand is what we're all here for. But most of us love, the biggest part of this is the community, and I'm so excited to be part of the Wolverhampton Card Show, and I'm very blessed that Jarl has approached us for this. And again, to him, thank you so much, because what he is doing with this show is incredible, and it's truly a blessing that he's approached us to host. It feels incredible. Pinch me.
It is.
I can't
honestly,
wait to.
yeah, I can't wait to do it. It's one of those ones where we're still very small time. I know we make that joke that one day the podcast will pay for our packs. It won't. We just do this for the love of it. We are fans of shiny cardboard. That's what we're here for. But to be sought out and asked for by somebody within the community who puts their faith in us to come up and do our thing live and direct in amongst all of you wonderful people in our community, it's an honour. I'm gonna say it. It's an honour. It truly is a blessing for you guys to want us to come there and do our thing. And I genuinely cannot wait for 100 people to walk past me and not have a clue who I am. And then as soon as my mouth opens, go, wait a minute, I know that voice.
It's the Mush that loves the moan.
It's the guy that loves the Arbok. I can't believe it. So it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And if by any chance you go to the Wolverhampton Card Show and you don't see me, it's because I've hidden behind Ed. That's it. So that is our big announcement for this episode, and we will cap off our episode, as we do with all of our episodes, with your unpopular opinions and questions. And there are some doozies this week. Now, a lot of people today have been very occupied with the release of Destined Rivals and ripping open their booster boxes, and if you're Dill, you're pulling Mewtwo, and basically we'll let everybody know about it for the next 6 weeks, which is great. No one's jealous. And so, our first unpopular opinion of the week is relatively good considering we're talking about new sets. But special sets are the biggest cash grab in Pokemon collection. Now, I've only been back a year, so I haven't seen many special sets. But from what I've heard and what I've seen about previous ones, you've got my vote. It's 100% correct. Ed?
I completely agree with this one, but I'm coming out from the perspective of, when you look at the sheer scale of some of these sets, like 151, like, it's not a massive set, but it's also not small. The upcoming Black Bolt and White Flare, I mean, less said about that, the better. It's going to be like an 800 card master set. I think the fact that you can only get this by purchasing booster bundles, poster collections, binder collections, the odd sort of like special collection box, you're not able to just go out and buy a booster box of that set. It has to be these more premium items where the average cost of a pack works out to be £7 or £8 because you get a little poster with it. For me, they're incredible artworks, but in terms of like how it drives the monetary value, you are getting absolutely shafted by the full length of the Pokemon Company.
Tone.
I was sat here, and I'm a very facial expression kind of person, and if you were watching the podcast, you would have seen me pull faces where I want to disagree. Anytime we talk about special sets, my mind goes to one of my favourite sets that I started collecting with, which is Pokemon Go. That was a mini set, and I loved that set. That might have been a cash grab, but for me, it was very nostalgic, and I loved it because I love Pokemon Go. 151, a special set, and you can consider it a cash grab, but it is an epic set of great artworks, very nostalgic. And then I was thinking about Power Day and Fates, and when that was released, I hold that set in my heart a lot. And I love it because it was the first set of when I was selling whatnot. So again, for me, it's got community vibes to it. However, going back and seeing that set now and taking off my rose tinted glasses, knowing that I was hard on and I spent a lot of money trying to complete that set, knowing I'm still only about 2/3 of the way through the shiny Pokemon, and now that the prices have gone up to at least £7 or £8 per card for shinies, and back when that first released, each individual shiny, baby shiny, was about £4 or £5. And I remember saying, I ain't spending that for that. I'll spend £2 to £3, but I ain't spending that. And now I look at it, I went, well, I ain't completing this set then, am I? Because it's now impossible to get your hands on any. And then, do I mention Prismatic? Do we need another Moan Zone?
I don't think anyone needs to talk about
there.
how much Prismatic is not loved on this
So,
podcast.
to end it off with, I agree. They are cash grabs.
The only thing I want to say, and I'm sure there are 100 people out there that will probably hate me for it, but I don't think baby shinies are that cool. Don't think those cards are that cool. If you're going to do a set based on shiny Pokemon, which especially as somebody, right, I have played Scarlet more than most people on this planet have played it combined. I've got over 1,000 hours. I very recently have picked it back up and I'm going back to finish my shiny living dex, and I'm now at 87%. I'm loving it. I don't know what it is. There's something about the monotony of just running around and going, nope, 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 nope. Funny coloured one that brings me unbridled joy. But there's something about the baby shinies that just don't hit for me. I would rather they'd done a set like Paldean Fates, and instead of doing baby shinies, just up the amount of IRs, or lower the amount of shiny Pokemon and give some Pokemon that have phenomenal shinies a big highlight. Like Lechonk has a great shiny. That bright pink,
Yes.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Give it an IR. Give it an IR. Don't give it a common hollow looking card. Like, if you're going to make a set based on something that people actively sought out, make that set worth going after.
I'm going to say, Mush, that I do agree with you there. As someone that loved Paldean Fates, look, the baby shinies have an allure to them, and I was definitely one of them that was allured to it, and that has decreased over the year. How would you say about a regular set, but every card not is a shiny card, like a hollow, but what is stopping the artwork be a shiny Pokemon instead?
That is
across
actually
the entire set.
That's exactly what I was gonna say after you'd finished there. Is that like they missed the trick by not having the common and uncommons be in the shiny color scheme, and then having
so.
the IRs and special illustration rares being like, I mean, like the Bubble Mew, one of the best cards in Scarlet and Violet in my opinion. Absolutely incredible, but it's because it's the shiny Mew in a fun art style in an incredible piece of art.
Yes.
And it's like the Charizard as well, like so much better than the Obsidian Flames one.
I was just about to say this as something that nobody will ever usually hear come out of my face hole, is that I think that Charizard is fantastic.
Yeah,
I love
100%.
that. I love that card. Shiny Charizard. I love. I love the color scheme of it. I think it's great, and the Bubble Mute is great as well. But for me, the one thing that truly, grinds my gears and makes my poop itch is that the shiny baby, the baby shiny cards, there's no artwork. It's just a white background and some stars.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd
love
love
the
to
idea.
see it in an artwork.
I'd love to see the idea of like let's just take this Houndoom, right? Because I've got it to hand. Imagine exactly the same card, but the Houndoom is blue, because that's its shiny.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you've got to do, and no different to like, I need another card to hand. Here you go.
I've got one. Imagine a common card like this, Hippopotas,
But
up
it's
on the
green.
mountainside, but it's shiny.
But it's green.
Exactly.
But it's got that green tint. It's the same. Like this Kangaskhan. Imagine that the Kangaskhan is its shiny, and its baby is slightly more purple, and the Quagsire is shiny, and it's purple.
Yep. Yeah.
Like there's such a. Although, please don't do another Garchomp shiny, because it's. You hurt me. You hurt me, Pokemon, and I don't trust you. You done things to me, and it made me sad.
But as well, it's like that's the opportunity that like if someone's like new to Pokemon or like getting reintroduced to it, There may be some of the Pokedex they've not seen, or like shiny variants they've not seen. Like again, a kid, that could be their first set, and like what a way to introduce them to like another side of Pokemon altogether. Like again,
Definitely.
a very cool shiny like Haxorus, for instance, one of my favourite shinies. Imagine you're just opening a pack of cards. The first thing you see is that black Haxorus with the red guillotine like blade on it. You'd stop in your tracks and be like, hang on, what on earth is this that I've just uncovered? Oh, all cards are like this. These don't look normal. You go on the internet and you're like, hang on, you've just discovered a whole new rabbit hole for Pokemon that you can go down if you execute like the shinies well on the cards.
It's the same with ones that are like really outrageously different, like another dragon type, Komodo, with the bright pink and yellow. That is a fantastic shiny Pokemon, and it's what shiny Pokemon should be. They should be a complete contrast to what they are previously. And this brings me perfectly into our next unpopular opinion. It is right, and I will be wearing a t-shirt that says the Segway King when we go to Wolverhampton Card Show. Or I'm going to get that card's phenomenal for all three of us to wear. We'll get some merch made, it'll be worth it. But our next unpopular opinion, majority of shiny Pokemon are disappointing. I'm going to go last on this. I'm going to let Tone go first, and Ed can sit in the middle like the meat in our sandwich.
I'm going to go first here. I think it's... I kind of agree, but not totally. Because when I hear that statement, my mind doesn't jump to incredible shiny Pokemon like Steelix, or the ones we've named already, or Pokemon like Gyarados, or where the colour is loud and out there and different. My mind takes me to people like Pikachu, to the majority of the Paldean starters, to Pokemon where there's barely a change. It takes me to the shinies like Jigglypuff, where it's just a change in the eyes, or Clefairy, where it's just a change in the ears. There's other Pokemon where it's, I think is it Tyranitar that has just a slightly darker hue.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I got a shiny Larvitar when I was playing Pokemon Go years ago, and I refused to evolve it from Pupitar because Pupitar's that solid purple, and I love it. And I was like, I'm not gonna dull it out by making it Tyranitar. I want it to be a loud and out there shiny. One of my favourites is Voltorb. It's drastically different being blue.
The Great Ball.
Yeah.
That's it. When shiny, it needs to be a drastic different change, and there are a lot out there that it is either a tiny minor detail or it is the same colour. I'm sorry, a slightly darker hue of yellow is not a shiny Pikachu. No. Make it a totally different colour. Make it pink, make it green, make it blue, make it yellow. On that note, there are a lot of shinies that they don't know what to do, so they just make it green. There are a lot of dull green shinies that could be so much better. And yeah, so I don't totally agree with the statement. I see where the person's coming from, because there are many shinies out there that could be vastly better. But I'll let Ed take it from me.
I will agree that the vast majority of shinies are terrible, because it's like for every one fantastic shiny that there is, like the Charizard, like the Rayquaza, which I mean is one of the most beautiful shinies going. For every one of those, you've got my favourite Pokemon Gengar that just
that's the one I was thinking.
That it's just
awful shiny.
It's like, oh, we've got a little purple devil. What are we gonna do? Have we tried making him pale? Like, it's a shambles. And it's like Charizard, fantastic shiny, but Charmander and Charmeleon, it's like a pale orange, and it's like,
I will say it, Squirtle, a slightly greener shell,
it's
shell,
definitely...
which you can't see because it's behind it. The rest of the body's a bit pale.
Yeah.
Squirtle deserves so much better.
It's like there are so many more bad shinies than there are good ones, because when they get the shinies right, they are otherworldly levels of fantastic.
Absolutely.
And again, a lot of like the Pokemon that go from like a vibrant colour to like jet black, absolutely love it because it highlights the accents on the body. or like they're sort of being that you wouldn't necessarily see or even take note of before. And then the ones like Tone said with like Voltorb and Electrode having like the sheer difference in colour, and especially in that case making it a different type of Pokeball, I think that is world class. But then you have those like in the Radiant cards in the back of your mind, but then every other shiny in between is you're so indifferent to, because it's like I've had some that I've hatched from eggs on Pokemon Go, and I've gone to transfer it, and it's gone, oh, you sure you want to transfer this shiny? And I'm like,
Yep. Is that a shiny?
where's the shine? Like, my screen brightness is just down. Like, what are you on about? So for me, yeah, either make shinies great again or don't bother. Like, I'm ready for
Here
this.
we go. So
I'm
we've got
ready
the
for
shiny
this.
hunter. We need
Look,
your opinion.
look,
Oh, shiny one.
Look. Right, I'm going to take my jewellery off. I'm going to clip my finger. Right, look. I can't sit here and I cannot say that every shiny Pokemon is fantastic. That'd be a lie. It would make me Ange Postecoglou. It's just not worth it, honestly. I get where you're coming from. I really do. I understand that, like, you know, for every 5 bad shinies, there's a good shiny, you know? But I think what you have to realise is that if every shiny was great, if every shiny was fantastic, no shinies would be fantastic. Now,
I disagree.
Now, before you,
I've had this debate. I'll let you go in.
Before you chew me out and tell me I'm wrong, I fully get certain points of view. You know, there are some Pokemon, like you've mentioned Voltorb, both of you, fantastic. It goes from a Pokeball to a Great Ball. Hisuian Voltorb goes from a Pokeball to an Ultra Ball. That's a great change. Some shinies that are subtle but decent, Luxray goes from black and blue to black and yellow.
Luxray
Stunning.
is one of my favourites.
Subtle but phenomenal.
Yes.
Ross's favourite Pokemon, Horlucha, goes from red and white and green to black, purple and green. Great shiny.
Stunning.
Absolutely great shiny. Shout out to Rey Mysterio, my shiny Horlucha that carried me through the late game of Pokemon Scarlet. But then, like you say, you get awful ones like Pikachu, where it's just a huge change. Garchomp, huge change. You know, Clefairy with the ears, like you say, there are some that are just not even worth. One of my biggest pet peeves with Scarlet Pokemon, Maschiff and Mabostiff. Maschiff gets Mabostiff's colouring. Mabostiff gets greyer. He just looks like Arvin gave him a worse time. It's just not worth it, and I do fully understand where you're coming from with, I don't know what to do with it, let's make it green. Scizor, fantastic shiny because it's green, because it takes over Scyther's colouring. Scyther's shiny, I have a pink belly. Did you have a rough day in the sun, my child? Here's some aloe vera. Teddy Ursaring. I quite like the vibrant bright green. They look like Ed's headphones, and they're great. Ursaluna, it's just slightly redder. That's great. I could be a shiny Pokemon if I stood in the sun for 3.5 minutes. I'm not going to stand here and agree that all of them are like most shinies are disappointing, because I actually think it's a 50-50 split. Purely based on the good weighs the bad. For every 5 terrible ones, you get Ekans and Arbok, which is a great combo because it's green and gold. You get the Magnemite line, which are actually great because they become gold until you get a Magnezone where it just goes back again. Every bit of good you get a bad. You are a team that finishes 10th in the Premier League with 10 wins, 10 draws and 10 losses. It's a perfect score between the two. Now, I do fear, genuinely, that as we go into the next generation, as we get into Legend ZA, with the addition of Mega Pokemon and with the changes of the... Because we all know that all the starters are going to get new forms, right? I think we're all agreed with that, and we've been agreed.
Yeah.
There's an ability to change their shiny forms. I quite like shiny for Alligator with the brighter blue, and I think it's a nice change with the blue extra bits. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Blue neck. Fins, there we go. And, you know, but Typhlosion and Meganium's shinies are awful because they're just slight hue changes. So for now, currently, I think it's a 50-50 split, and I think that Legend ZA has to introduce not only new Pokemon but new forms for this to be wrong. If Legend ZA don't introduce good shinies and don't change anything, then this becomes right. But as
I hear you.
But as we stand,
However,
I think it's 50-50.
I still have to disagree with your statement of it makes the better ones look better. And again, I've had this debate and I understand. However, the not better version is the regular Pokemon. There are 1,025 regular Pokemon that you can get multiples of, and shiny versions are a 0 point or a little bit more, a little bit less chance of getting. If I am hunting a Ghastly and I want a shiny, I want that shiny to pop. I don't care. It is a disappointment. I don't care if it's just pop a little bit more. But I can't accept the argument that the good shinies outweigh the bad shinies, because at the end of the day, it already has another colour to compare to. If you're making it exactly the same colour with a different hue, there's already something to compare it to. I'm not comparing one shiny to another shiny, and the only reason I do is because this shiny is piss poor and this shiny is incredible. However, if all the shinies were vastly different from their original, it would feel like every one is a win, and every shiny should feel like a win. You're finding a rare version of that Pokemon, because when I find a Pokemon that I don't really care about there are Pokemon that we all know that and we're not really that big fans of. So if I find a Wurmple, I'm buzzing because it's an incredible shiny. But if I'm finding one of these Pokemon that aren't as vibrant as that, I'm disappointed, because A, I probably don't care for you, and B, your shiny doesn't intrigue me. But if I don't care for you, like, there were days, community days on Pokemon Go, that I was really invested in, and there were days where I did not care because I was like, is owning that Pokemon as a shiny worth it? Whereas if they had done it a different colour, I would have been totally invested because it was a better shiny. And that's where I'm coming from it. They should all be better than their original.
Yeah.
I do agree, because like Orthworm, no one cares about that Pokemon, but the baby blue shiny version of it is still in my top box, in my thing, and that and Horlucha. I'm a poison type trainer. Those two were in my team for far too long because they were useful and I love their shinies.
Yeah. But to have your mascot the exact same colour,
Yeah.
come on!
I think
Put it in a post-it outfit and post it off.
I think you touched on something really valid there as well. It's like on games like Pokemon Go and like TCG Pocket, it's like your chances of pulling like a shiny Pokemon, say in the latest sets, or like hatching one from an egg, apart from like when you've got community days and that, it's like if you hatch like a 2 kilometer egg and you get some basic Pokemon and you get the shiny variant of that, you know that you're not seeing a shiny Pokemon for the next like 3 months. Easy. Same with like on TCG Pocket. It's like they've brought out shinies in like Shining Revelry in the latest sets. I had a pull today. I got a shiny 2-star, was over the moon, Pidgeotto. Couldn't give a damn. Like, I've just had a great pull wasted on a bollocks shiny that I do not care about.
And now you're going to have to wait ages to get a better shiny.
Yeah, it's like, so it's, I mean, I get it from Mush's perspective, and like when you're doing shiny hunting and you can actively seek out the Pokemon and the shiny that you want, all for that, because like you either want it because the Pokemon means something to you, or you love the shiny, or you're a completionist. But when you get like these random drops of random number generated shinies and they're god awful, there is no bigger kick in the dick than that.
Yeah.
And it's one of those ones where I think it's like tight matchups and things like this. You could argue about it until the cows come home, and that's the wonderful thing about Pokemon. This next one I think is going to be really good because I think it's going to be over in seconds. So I'm just going to ask for yes or no from both of you and no explanation, and we move on from it. Raichu over Pikachu. Yes. It's 3 yeses. Thank you for whoever gave us that one. I'm not even going to offer it.
Dill's going to cry in the corner.
Don't care, he's got Mewtwo. He can literally do what he wants. All right? He's pulled the best card from this set. This one, I love. Destined Rivals should have Destined Rivals should have originally been called Glory of Team Rocket in both Japanese and English. Agree. Glory of Team Rocket is the best set name from Scarlet and Violet.
Absolutely. Destined Rivals, as much as we were enjoying the set, as much as we were enjoying the set, is a shite name compared to Glory of Team Rocket. Destined Rivals, I get it's incorporating the other set. I understand. I get it. But going back to a point we've made many times, both on previous podcasts and chats and Friday Night Lives, we were promised a Rocket set. And we had a lot like Dark and Light Pokemon, and we had other things taken from us that we were expecting. And here in Gloria Team Rocket, everyone was like this, ooh, and then we got Destined Rivals. And I remember everyone going, huh? Destined what?
I want Team Rocket. We've got Team Rocket at home. That's what that made me think of when I saw that.
No,
Absolutely agreed.
yeah, 100%. Because I mean, as well, when you look at some of the set names that we've had in Scarlet and Violet, like Stellar Crown, give a fuck. Twilight Masquerade, what is that? Like Shrouded Fable, I like the set. I like the
I
colour
will
scheme.
say I like the name Twilight Masquerade.
I mean, it's
Now that I've played it, I like if you play the DLC again. I defend Twilight Masquerade a lot, and I defend Ogapon because I've played the DLC and I love the DLC, and that set and that Pokemon get a lot of unwarranted hate.
But I just mean like it's. I mean, they're lovely words, but it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And like Surge and Sparks, it's like god awful. It's like it's you have like, and when you get into Japanese as well, like Hot Air Arena or Heatwave Arena, dependent on what translation you go with. It's like hot air. What? Like, come on.
just to go back to Tone's point, if you out there consider yourself to be worthy of a seat on our podcast, please come and replace Tone. Email a video CV to me, because I cannot deal with anybody that wants to defend Ogapon. It is a terrible. Right. We're moving on from this, and we're moving on to the next point, right? Because it's
such
perfect.
a nice
I don't care.
story.
I'm the Segway King. Get in my lane. Next point.
To see the fight, subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah. Next on Patreon, Mush and Tone go 5 rounds because they definitely couldn't last 10. I agree with what both of you are saying, but I will not agree with Ogapon. And this is a perfect segue into this design, this question that we've got. And it's, do you think legendary designs have got lazy? Yes. Yes, they've got lazy.
100%.
Ogapon is awful. It's awful. It's an awful Pokemon. I love the theory that it can change form with its mask. It's really cool, but it's a poor design. It's a poor design. It's Ogapon. It's called Ogapon, and it looks cute. I want something that looks like Shrek at 4 a.m. after a few too many swamp shots. All right? I want something scary. Okie dokie. Monkey Dory and Pheasantipity. If you cannot be asked to have any kind of creativity, do not name a Pokemon that is a response to how are you feeling this morning. I'm sorry, the Loyo Trio, right, I'm a poison type lover. I love that. And I even I can
But maybe that's why I love Ogapon, because I hated them three.
I can stand Petulant because of its cards, not because of its design in game. It's got a couple of really nice cards, okay? But all 5 of them, the Loyo Trio, Ogapon and Petulant, can get in the bin. Eternatus from Sword and Shield can open the door and walk clean through it. There are far too many legendaries. Ultra Necrozma, get out. Cosmog,
all of the Ultra Beasts.
All of the Ultra Beasts, get in the bin.
Yeah.
Just the only one I don't mind is Naganadel, because I think it's got a cool dragon-esque design.
I'm going to throw out there, I quite like Guzzlord, I will say, just because...
I like Guzzlord.
I think it looks fun.
It's an incredible design.
It looks fun, but it also is very reminiscent of like the Gengar VMAX, having like the big mouth that just sucks in everything. I think that's one of the Ultra Beasts that I do
in
like.
my dreams, Ed is Buzzwole.
I don't mind. I was waiting to say.
No, I hate it. I think it's awful.
I don't mind the design, but I think it's because it reminds me of something, and I can't think of what. It reminds me of something
just
from
think
an
it's
animated
bad.
show
I think
back in the
that
day.
It's Dr. Robotnik that it reminds me of. Not obviously from the size, but
It's
from the glasses, the
and
eyes, the mustache. Like this
Maybe
part
it's that.
is Robotnik. But no, I mean, I fully agree with this. Like,
nothing from the Sword and Shield era did it for me. Like, I don't mind Zamazentarization. I think that they are basically just armor-wearing Houndooms or armor-wearing Mighty-Ainers. I think that... Sorry, Tone, I'm doing a list. You can jump in the list.
Go on.
All of the Ultra Beasts can get the bin. Ultra Necrosman can get the bin. I don't mind the Solgaleo and Lunala. I don't mind them. They're whatever. Cosmog and Cosmoan can get out. It can fully be evicted from the big Pokemon house. All of the ones from Sun and Moon, all the Tapus, rubbish. Absolute dog, go away. Can't even remember the rest of the legendaries from those games, but dog. There hasn't been a good legendary design since Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem.
yeah.
And also, Koraidon and Miraidon. Why do I get my legendary in a game as a bicycle?
And as well, why does Koraidon have a wheel that he doesn't use?
Yeah.
And it's spiky. Is it a snow tyre? Are you worried about going up Glaciado Mountain? Because you can fly. You can fly. It can fly. Oh, it doesn't. I can't.
I have no issue at all with them, obviously drawing like inspiration from real life. But when it is so on the nose, like Tinglu, horse in a hat, Qianpao, Sabertooth, just some glowing stuff going on. Like what is it? Wien Chao is just a big old slug. Like,
and Qin Yu is a firefish.
A fish.
It's just a goldfish. Like it's
Nemo. It's Nemo on roids.
But that's it. You can absolutely tell when they've just gone. We've got a game coming out. Like, anyone been to the local zoo? What did you see? Give me that, and we'll punch the keyboard, fill in the blanks, add some vowels, and that is the face of the franchise.
If ChatGPT could design legendaries, it would have designed Scarlet and Violet. Now, I will only defend one, and I like Qianpao purely because of the sword teeth.
Sabertooth. Yes,
I think it's a really cool
my
touch,
favourite by far.
but the rest are all dog.
No, I agree, but part of me thinks that as well is because that's the best one of a god-awful lineup.
Yeah.
Like, if you were to stack that up with, like, some of the earlier... like, if you put that against the big dogs, like Entei, Suicune and Raikou...
It gets eaten alive.
Like, it's a no contest. Like, that's the ugly duckling that has to come along.
That is like being the best goalkeeper in the Conference South League and only conceding 43 goals a game.
That's
it's not a thing to like write home about.
It's not going on your CV. It's not going on LinkedIn. Nobody cares.
Yeah, it's you're not getting the job. You didn't get the job on a technicality off the back of a legend who recommended you.
There's one that I'm going to say that is a big community favourite, but I dislike for no apparent reason. That I just think it's stupid, and that's Shaman.
Hate it.
I hate it as well.
It's got too many forms. Why does it need 3 forms?
Yeah.
I think you can really tell, though, the Pokemon that have been designed for the purpose of either appealing to one demographic in particular...
Kids or toys.
Exactly that, or for the purpose of merch. Like, I'll say, I've got the Shaman here from Destined Rivals. Beautiful card in terms of the illustration, but you know that, like, Pokemon is going to be made for a little plushie... or as like a little pocket logo on a t-shirt, and it will probably sell like absolute hotcake. I've got no issue with obviously them making merch out of Pokemon because that's what we're all in it for and we will all buy it. But when it is so on the nose done for stuff like that, it just gets quite frustrating that you know that they've not gone, this is a cool design for something different. Like Sil Valley, for instance, I actually love as a design, love as the Pokemon. Same with like Type Null. It's a bit of a weird one, but I really like how out there and weird and wacky and strangely how thrown together it is because that fits the Pokemon. But when you're just going, that's an animal, let's change the colour scheme and give it a spike, and you're like, this is the new legendary that you're all going to have to lose your minds over. This is the big, like, I'm going to use chase as the term here, but like when that's the Pokemon that you cannot wait to get your hands on at the end of the game. Like when I stumbled into the cave and I saw Palkia, for instance, I was like, this is what it's all about. Like I'm about to get some big old like meaty dragon that like looks the part. Same with like Giratina, seeing him sat in the cave waiting for me and just being like, it's about to go down, you're getting in my Master Ball, and we're going to have a bloody good time together. That
This
is
is
how
this
Well
is
done,
actually the
Kyogre.
origin story of how Ed got married.
But
Get in the
look at
Master Ball,
all
we're
of
going
them.
home, we're going to have a bloody good
It's-
time.
Zapdos, Articuno, Moltres. It was wondrous going to get them. Ho-Oh and Lugia. Wondrous.
Yeah.
The dogs, incredible.
I don't know, finding Raikou in the
Groudon
grass every
and-
time made me cry.
But going to get Groudon or Kyogre was awesome as well. Bloody Rayquaza. Like, come on. And then you've got people like Shaman and Wu Chen and Buzzwole and all them Ultra Beasts and the randoms.
Imagine
It's-
playing a game for 15 hours and your reward for it is a fucking goldfish.
I love how we've kept it PG until we got right here and Ed's just lost it at the gold.
To be fair, that's his first. We had ours last week. That's Ed's this
I
week.
have to say this, right, and this is one that I've been thinking of while you've been discussing, right? So to bring it back to like Shaman being, it's basically a demographic for kids and toys, right? Black and White and Black and White 2 gave us Reshiram and Zekrom, two very, aggressive looking Pokemon. Kyurem looks like it should be the final villain of an Alien vs Predator movie.
Incredible.
And then you have the Swords of Justice, Cobalion, Virizion, and Terrakion, which all look, in my opinion, great as mythicals or mini legendaries. I really like their design. And then Keldeo. They were just like, how can we make it smaller, cuter, and appeal to children? And then they gave it a movie.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying that it's particularly bad. I think Keldeo is actually, in-game, fantastic to use. It's got a good typing, good stats, etc. But it means nothing to me. I am sick of everything being watered down and made to look cute. All right, let's just for example, right? Here are your Paldean starters. Very small, very cute, right? Whatever. Here is the god of space and time.
Yeah. I feel like with Keldeo, the only thing that they could have done that would have redeemed it for me is had they have pulled like a Hooper on us, where you have like the regular form that's
and then
nothing special, and then Unbound, what a game changer. Hooper Unbound, one of my favourite designs. The fact that the arms float, punches through portals, all of that stuff, give it me in my veins. But when you have a cartoon, childish, baby unicorn, and that's all it is, you've given up.
When I first saw Hooper, without context, because I wasn't in the TCG collection, I didn't watch the anime, but I still played the games, I genuinely thought that Shuppet and Burnett had finally got a middle evolution.
Yeah,
Or I
that.
thought that Burnett had got a further evolution, because it's got that, like, zip mouth looking, ghost ethereal vibe to it. Yeah. And it's just, I don't even think I want to say Pokemon do better. I just think that Pokemon go backwards.
Yeah.
Like, not everything needs to be cute and cuddly. There are a number of people out here. Like, my favourite Pokemon is a giant cobra.
Yeah.
I am terrified of snakes in real life. I would sleep next to my Arbok for the rest of my existence if Pokemon were real. My next two favourites are an armoured bug and a giant rock snake that's covered in steel. After that, it's then a big jellyfish, and then it's a ball of gas.
But that's it. These are real life examples that have been reimagined well. They've not just gone, this horse now has a sombrero.
I don't know why, but Ludicolo straight came into my brain then, and I cannot stand that design. Don't know why. I don't even think that line, like Lotad, Lombre, and so on, is awful, but just something about Ludicolo just makes me want to punch it.
He's too happy.
It's just, who said you could have that good of a time, all right? I have to go to work
Another one
tomorrow,
with
and I'm
He's
like,
never-
shiny as well.
He's never paid council tax twice in
No.
2 months. Outrageous. He's had it easy. And I think it's a good way to cap out our podcast, because although we've managed to hit some really good topics today, I think one final one I'm going to throw it out there because I quite like this, and it's just a simple yes or no. Greninja is the GOAT of Ash's team. See, I've only given you yes or no, and both of you have immediately hit the... I I'm going to say
Yeah,
no.
I'm gonna say no as well.
Now, I'm not going to use Pikachu as an example, and I'm not going to use Charizard. I think that there are Pokemon along the way that get forgotten about. Now, I've missed a big chunk of the anime. A big, big chunk of it. But Ash's Squirtle that was in the Squirtle squad. Fantastic Pokemon. Ash's Farfetch'd at one point. Ash's Donphan. There are a number of Pokemon that have been forgotten about, so I'm going to say no. I don't think
Yeah, I'm
it
gonna
is.
say no.
Oh, and whatever that fish fossil thing is, that's great. Dracovish. Awful Pokemon, fantastic in the anime.
Yeah, no, I disagree.
I feel like Ed's
think
now
there's far
Googling
better.
Ash's Pokemon team.
No, I am. I'm just going to familiarise myself. I mean, obviously for me, I love Gengar, so that was the one that immediately comes to mind. It's got one of the funniest memes going of like Gengar is exhausted, but he's going to push through, and it's like, me too, buddy, me too. But
That's me when I clock in.
Yeah, it's like my day starts and I'm already done. But I feel like Greninja has some like, we can all agree, some of the best battle scenes going. It's an incredibly like designed Pokemon, fantastic shiny as well for what it's worth. But I sort of feel like when you come to like Pokemon that have that clout behind them anyway, again with Gengar, he's a fan favourite Pokemon. I think one of the ones that actually sticks out to me quite a bit is actually Charmeleon, purely because of that was the first introduction to the idea of how like your Pokemon could be like too higher a level for you. The fact that it wasn't all like sunshine and rainbows for him, like as a trainer. It wasn't like, oh, I had a Charmander and now I've evolved it and everything's going to continue to be wonderful. I sort of feel like it's hard to narrow down one particular Pokemon, because I feel like, to their credit, they did a fantastic job of crafting these stories around each Pokemon that feature in the team. They each get their moment to shine. But I sort of feel like there's more like credence and like benefit to the times he's had like Pokemon that he hasn't necessarily got on with, or that have almost had their big moment and come up short. Like, those are the times that I feel you get more from the story, you get more character development, and ultimately those Pokemon have like the bigger impact on you, because it's like, that's what it should all be, is like almost the life lessons that you get alongside like the journey, because that's what you're watching. And when you think we will have been watching Pokemon or like enjoying its content for 10, 15, 20 years at this point, it's like, you don't want everything to always be like Ash wins lol or Charizard wins lol, you know? like we touched on in episode 1, you don't want the John Cena syndrome on all of Ash's Pokemon, and I feel
Charizard still hasn't done the job for Magmar, I've heard.
He took a look at the bucket and was like, that doesn't work for me, brother.
I never, ever, ever want to hear you do a Hulk Hogan impression ever again.
I do.
Not on the podcast, anyway. Make sure you get that, grow that handlebar in for me, big man. Go on then, Tone, to round out the podcast.
I've said it. I disagree. I think there's many Pokemon that Ash has had that, again, going off what Ed said, have had a lasting impact with me. I think, and this might be controversial here, but I think Greninja was heavily pushed. Great. He was great in the anime.
Are we trying to suggest that Greninja is the Roman Reigns of Ash's team?
He is the Roman Reigns of Ash's team, 100%. And I love Greninja. I love my water starters, but I think there were better Pokemon on his team.
It's fair enough. I think that we've really dug into our own takes on everything in this week's Unpopular Opinions, and I love that. That's the one thing I truly love the most about Pokemon and the community that we are in when it comes to all things TCG, anime, video games, etc. Everyone's got their favourites, everyone's got their opinions, everyone's got their takes on things, and that's what keeps this hobby going, and what gives us three the wonderful ability to be able to come on here and discuss it, because everybody's got something they want to say, and we get the gracious honour of being able to talk about it and then bring it to you guys here on these lovely platforms. It has been another brilliant episode with a brand new logo, evolution, Destined Rivals release day. May God bless your pools. May Arceus give you all of your favourite chasers. From me, the Mush who loves the Mons, the strongest man in Pokemon, and Tone with the big bone that likes to have a moan. From all of us here on the PokePals Pokemon podcast, good luck with your pools. See you at Wolverhampton and have a bloody lovely day. See you later, everybody.
Bye.
Cheers.